That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Maniac, William Lustig's 1980 classic, which Blue Underground is releasing on Blu-ray May 26, 2020. It's a 4K Ultra HD 2-disc set, one disc of completely of extra bonus features.
Explain the story.
It is about a
serial killer.
A serial killer in 1980s New York who's killing women and has an obsession with mannequins and scalping the women and putting the hair on the mannequins.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
It is pretty basic. His affliction is based on severe childhood trauma inflicted upon him by his mother. It was, of course, remade in 2012, starring Elijah Wood, and relocated to downtown Los Angeles, directed by Frank Calhoun from a script co-written by Alexander Aja, notably. And so you've seen both versions now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I preferred Elijah Wood's performance, but we don't want to talk about the remake.
Well, the remake isn't very beloved, and one thing I did really appreciate about that film was what they did with downtown LA. I thought it was kind of menacing. So here we have a very textured 1980 New York, starring Joe Spinell, who I think is quite effective and creepy as Frank Zito.
He is creepy.
The killer. Joe Spinell, his debut was an uncredited role in The Godfather, and he was in Rocky and Taxi Driver, and several other notable films in the 70s. So he was, busy. He was also in Cruising, so he was in 2 films in 1980 about serial
That's right, he's the cop in Cruising.
Yeah. So this feels very like early Abel Ferrara, like Driller Killer, and like Ferrara, William Lustig started out in pornography. This is technically his narrative feature debut, but he did 2 pornographic films before this, with the same cinematographer, Robert Lindsay. And I think you commented on kind of the herky-jerky, voyeuristic camera work, which kind of fits with...
Which I appreciated, yeah.
Yes.
So the story is he's just on a killing spree. So it's basically from one scene to the next. It really is just one scenario. So like he'll see a woman in a context and then cut to him like invading her space and killing her. Well,
and its methods are goes from Zodiac Killer to David Berkowitz, kind of killing couples. He starts to have an obsession with a woman named Anna D'Antoni that's played by Carolyn Munro, who did other films with Joe Spinell. And she's a photographer, and he's very taken with the fact that what photography does is take somebody and keeps them exactly as you want them forever. And he's obsessed with mannequins. So it's like her version of still life is the same as his, and if that is a subtext of the film. But
so he continues on his spree. How does it end?
He has the nightmare about all of them. He commits...
Oh, that's right. The final scene's very interesting.
Like harakiri in bed.
Yeah, he has a nightmare where all of his victims sort of like eat him alive and rip off his head. Mm-hmm. But then the final shot is him awake in bed, and so obviously it was just a nightmare. And we would assume that he will continue to do what he's been doing.
Yeah, so it's very simple. I first saw this at a Lustig double feature at LACMA, and he was there, and it was this film and Vigilante with Fred Williamson and Robert Forster, which actually was a very fun night. But even on a rewatching, it is very graphic. Some of the sequences, like killing of a prostitute where he's strangling her, like there are things that are disturbing.
What works well for you in this film?
I think Joe Spinell's presence.
Yeah, I think Frank Zito is just a creepy character in this portrayal.
Mm-hmm. But he's almost so off-putting that I don't believe a woman as good-looking as Carol Munro would entertain him at all. Because he's creepy. But yeah, by today's standards, it feels very simple. So I can see why somebody tried to update it, but... Yeah.
Lastly, what would you give this film?
I would give it 3 out of 5.
Oh.
I mean, it's an important early 1980s grindhouse film.
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked by some of the murder scenes. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's effective. I would give it 2.5 out of 5. But I think it's worth the watch if you're into gore,
Yeah, I agree.
There's not a lot of suspense. It's not thrilling. It's just kind of a gory.
I think, Arrow Video put out Driller Killer on Blu-ray for the first time. I'd say it actually makes kind of a good double feature with that. But
Okay. Anything else?
no, that's it.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.